help you implement them correctly. So, habits of effective people. Habit 1. Multiple steps here. So, the idea is that we plan our day. What does this mean? It means it's 5 to 15 minutes worth of time to sit down and plan your day. Can you find 5 to 15 minutes worth of time? Yes, that's 5 commercials. Okay. During this planning time, we want to review our to-do list. How many of us have a to-do list? Great. If you do not have a to-do list, the mere fact of starting to use one can hike your efficiency by 25%. So we want to really use this. Now, to-do list is not just you write stuff down and then you hope that it happens. That's not a to-do list. A to-do list is actually part of your planning. So that's where we're going to go through and work this step by step by step. The next thing is you want to follow up during your planning time on the commitments that you have made throughout the day. For instance, you were out at an appointment and you said, oh yes, I can get you that file, I can do that project, I can do the blah, 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 whatever. Well, you better write it down. Because if you don't write it down, guess what happens? You forget about it until they call back. Or they walk into your office and like, oh, how are you on that project? You're like, oh, fabulous, yeah. Sure. All right. The other thing you want to do during your planning time is to become much more proactive. Look ahead in your calendar. We do not need to be pulling all-nighters like we did in college, right? No, not a good thing. So you want to look ahead, and then, for instance, if you need to prepare for a meeting or something, those to-dos need to become part of your appointments, your schedule, your life, versus becoming reactionary. Reactionary is not a good thing. This concept, discretionary versus non-discretionary time. For instance, excuse me, this seminar, you're sitting here at this moment in time, is it discretionary time or non-discretionary time? Non-discretionary time. You have made a commitment to be here till 10:30. You can't do anything else unless you have time. And then, for instance, once you leave here, that becomes discretionary time. You can decide to go to the bathroom, you can decide to go to lunch, you can decide to blah, blah, blah. You have all these options. Well, how this works is a huge chunk of our day is non-discretionary time. Especially if you have phones to answer, emails to answer, and people to actually walk up to your counter or your desk and deal with. And that's the thing most people don't realize, because I do this often here at the county, is, you know, when the citizen walks in, is that, and it's your job to handle with that citizen, okay, is that discretionary or non-discretionary time? Non-discretionary. You suddenly, okay, I'm dealing, yes sir, yes I can, how can I help you, blah, 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 blah. Okay, if 80% of your day is that, how much time do you have left? Not a whole heck of a lot.
Break and lunch.
Yeah, and that's where you have to really figure out how can you plan your day. Can you, for instance, protect some time if you have coworkers or team members? And so, for instance, can you protect 45 minutes a day so you're not always in reactionary mode with the counter, for instance? There are ways to work through with team members. I'm self-employed. I don't have an administrative assistant. I do whatever I can do. Okay? But if you have team members, you can certainly negotiate, say, okay, I would like for all of us to, for instance, have some protected time to work on those things that are not getting done. We all know that 80% of our day is dealing with citizens, so how can we make this work? And you'd be surprised at how this can work. Now, with dealing with, you have kids, spouse, okay, is that discretionary or non-discretionary times? Depends. If you would like to have a healthy relationship, it's non-discretionary. If you want to have children that have grown up to be adults and be productive citizens, it's non-discretionary. Yeah. So you start to add up how many commitments that you have in the department of non-discretionary, and you don't have that much discretionary time left. So we have to be very clear of how you're using your time and energy throughout a given day. Is it always the same every single day? No, and that's why you need to plan your day. Okay? So, we're going to go through this in a second, because I have another slide I'm going to pull up in a second here. Excuse me. We want to prioritize the tasks we wish to accomplish in our planning time. And then, we want to remember, plan our day, work our plan. Okay, so that's kind of habit number one. Now, what we do